What is up, everybody, and welcome back to the channel. As you can see, the Genesis Coupe is behind me, and it has been honestly quite a while since I've had this thing in a video on the channel. And recently I've been getting a ton of questions on this thing, especially within the last week or two, and we're gonna be trying to answer all of those questions in today's video. I'm gonna try my hardest to make this video as short, sweet, and to the point as possible, and just seriously cut down on my rambling in these videos like I tend to do. So now the first question I've been asked a ton lately, like I said, in the last week or two, this has been asked a bunch, is am I bringing the Genesis Coupe to SlammedEnuff Gatlinburg still? The second question has been, where has it been and why haven't I driven it really, or even brought it to any car shows or events or meets or anything like that? Then the third question is, what's going on with it, what's going on with the future, and what are my plans with this thing moving forward, especially over the winter? And we're going to be answering all of those questions in today's video, so let's just jump right into it. Alrighty, so to give you the quick answers to all these questions, the first one being, am I bringing it to SlammedEnuff Gatlinburg? And that is, unfortunately, I am not. This car is staying here. I don't even know if I'm going to end up traveling to SlammedEnuff Gatlinburg myself. We were trying to figure out a trip, and it just hasn't been working out, so I have no idea what's going on, but the car will definitely not be in SlammedEnuff Gatlinburg. To answer the second question, why haven't I driven this car? And honestly, it comes down to I'm just not happy with it. It's got a bunch of damage on it. I've been talking about it for a year and a half now. I haven't fixed any of it. I haven't redone the car, and therefore I'm just not happy with the car. It's not up to my standards. It's not up to my presentation level. Therefore, I don't feel like having to bring this out anywhere because I'm not happy with it in its current state. The third question is, what are my future plans for it? And those are the same exact future plans that I've had, like I said, for the last year that I didn't do all last winter. So it needs to be unwrapped. It needs to have some fiberglass repairs. I need to finish repairing the bumper. I need to take out some front camber and do all this stuff, and we'll dive more into that in today's video. But those are the quick answers for all three of those questions. Now let's dive into a little bit more detail about each one. Alright, so now it's time that I'm going to start trying to explain in a little bit more detail here. Like I said, try to do it as quickly as possible, try to make this video as short as possible. But anyways, to get into more detail, basically how it all boiled down and worked out is that in June, when I broke my front bumper, I ended up not working on it until the end of July. So it was pretty much a full month went by. I did 2 videos on that bumper so far, and everything was going good up until that point. Now, since that video, I discovered that something that I didn't even think of in the meantime. I didn't do a step, and it kind of basically ruined everything that I had already previously done. So I basically had to restart on repairing the bumper. I keep pointing to it because it's sitting right there off camera. But anyway, so basically the bumper whole project had to get restarted, and I got to a pretty good halfway point. It's almost done sitting on the stand over there, but I just haven't worked on it in a month and a half, maybe even 2 months. Hence why the third video of that whole bumper repair series. That video was never supposed to be a huge part series, but it just started taking way too long. And yeah, so basically I'm redoing the work and it's almost done, but I just have no motivation to work on that thing. It just takes so long, I just don't feel like doing it. But yeah, and then on top of that, I still had to peel the entire vinyl wrap, fix the crack in the front fenders and the rear fenders, both on the driver's side. Well, yeah, no, driver's side front and rear flares have little cracks in them that I wanted to fix when I got a car rewrapped. And on top of that, when I was already peeling the vinyl wrap off of everything, I was going to body work a bunch of the flares like I've been talking about for a while. And basically that's what it comes down to, is I haven't done any of this stuff that I've been talking about for a while. It's really hard to motivate myself. I really don't like coming to this garage. It's in a bad location. The layout, it looks really good on camera, but it sucks. The only unfortunate part is that I just can't find another garage. I have been looking for another garage for pretty much a year and a half, and it's just really hard where I am in Massachusetts to find something that's just for my personal use. I don't really want to start a business, and if I could find a shop big enough, I might start a business or a shop of some sort. But it's just been a convoluted combination of a bunch of stuff that just really just makes me unmotivated to come here and get to work on the Genesis Coupe. Like I said, I haven't actively looking for a garage. The only good part about this garage is that it is cheap, it does have heat, and it does have a bathroom, which those 3 things are super great. But unfortunately, with the way everything is laid out, the parking situation outside is terrible. So the last couple of videos where I've pulled the Santa Fe in this garage, I've had to park the Santa Fe way out of the way, take this out, park this also out of the way, pull the Santa Fe in the garage, then go back outside, take this car, move it back in front of these doors that you see here, because there's no actual parking out there for me to shuffle cars. Like I said, it's just pain in the butt. I wish I could find a 2-car garage. And what this little area that I am sitting in right now, if I remember, I made a video a while back about renting out a second bay. Well, there's so much stuff that isn't my stuff up against this wall behind the camera here that I can't fit another car in here. So basically paying for a second bay that I can't use fully here. So it's, yeah, that's my frustrations. Like I said, I have been trying to find another garage, like a true 2-car garage, but it's in Massachusetts, North Shore, everything's so expensive. It sucks. I'm not gonna pay $2,500+ a month to rent a garage that I'm just trying to make a YouTube video on, where a channel that doesn't even make me money yet because I only have so many subscribers, all that stuff. Yeah, so that's basically been the bulk of my frustrations. And with that being said, I haven't wanted to tear apart the Genesis to the point that if I did happen to find a new garage, I couldn't drive this thing here because it was so taken apart that I wouldn't be able to drive the Genesis from one place to another place. So it's just, that's kind of been what boils down to it. Now, another part, this has been a huge deciding factor on why I haven't gotten started on this car and why we're not bringing it to Gatlinburg, is I was going to get this car vinyl wrapped and the price kind of went up a bunch, which no big deal. Prices have been going up. Obviously, that's where the world is right now. But if I was going to pay that extra price for a new vinyl wrap on this car, I didn't want to rush through everything. Technically speaking, I could have rushed through all of this stuff, the bumper, the fender flares, the bodywork on the flares, and the crack repairs on the fender flares, and gotten this car pretty much about 90% of the way, and then got it rewrapped in time to bring the car to SlammedEnuff Gatlinburg. But I figured if I'm going to pay extra amount of money for a vinyl wrap, I might as well just take my time, get this car to 100% up to my standards, and then vinyl wrap it coming up in the fall, and then that way it'll be ready, or coming up in the spring, that way it'll be ready for the entire summer next year. And that is basically the last kind of straw on the horse's back that took me to say, I'm not going to bring this thing to Gatlinburg. And then at that point, when I decided this thing is not going to be going to Gatlinburg, I decided it's finally time to trade in the Durango, hence when I bought the Santa Fe. And now, one step above, I no longer have a vehicle to trailer this car the 1,200 miles it is from Massachusetts to Gatlinburg, Tennessee. For SlammedEnuff, I did look into a couple of places for transport on this thing, but prices were just so crazy, it just wasn't worth. When you have to factor in that we still have to get a plane there, plane ride back, and it just, so basically, if you can't tell what I'm saying to wrap this up, nothing was working out. I didn't need the extra stress, didn't need the extra aggravation. Therefore, the whole Genesis Coupe project basically went on hold. Alrighty guys, so we're gonna have to finish this video off on my cell phone because unfortunately, like I've mentioned a bunch of times, I'm having a ton of problems with this GoPro. It just overheated on me at the end of that last clip. So I probably ended up getting a bunch of stuff cut off. But yeah, anyway, we're just gonna use the cell phone, try and finish off the rest of this video. So now to explain what I don't like about the car in its current state. Color, all that stuff is fantastic. I'm just tired of looking at the green. I wanna switch it up. I do have a new color in mind. I'm pretty sure I know what I'm gonna do with the wheels. I might leave them and I might reparticle them. It's 50-50 right now. I'm gonna get the car wrapped and the new color, and then make a decision on what I'm doing with the wheels. But the biggest thing that I've just had as a gripe on this car is I am unhappy with the height of the rear of the vehicle when it is aired out. Now, everybody I say this to and who sees this thing says I'm crazy, but the rear end sits way too high for me. Now, this is at a ride height, like almost a ride height setting. The floor in this garage is really bumpy. It's hard to get this thing to air out to like a true ride height because it messes with the height sensors. But yeah, I'm not happy with the height of the rear end of this car. I want it to be much, much lower. Now, I do have some new tires. They're sitting behind over there. You can't see them right now. That should solve the problem of the rear end height on this thing. Hopefully, that'll be a nice, simple fix, and then we can move forward, and I don't have to go crazy trying to lower the rear end by chopping up these flares, raising it, do a high radius, all this stuff. Speaking of the wheels and fitment and height, the front height of the vehicle is perfect. The bumper sits on the ground when it airs out, and then the front subframe bottoms out on the ground when the fender flares and wheels sit fender to lip. So that doesn't need to be changed. However, I have been unhappy with the look of the car from, as I put my finger in the video, I just feel like the car has too much front camber compared to rear camber. Well, it has the same amount of camber, but the camber on the front end is coming mostly out of the lower control arm, which pushes the track width out, and it's almost the same width as the rear, and I want this to be a little bit more sucked in, but if I suck this in, I'm not going to have the same fender lip fitment because the bottom subframe bottoms out and this, that, and the other thing. Just to shorten this up, My plan is, these are low disc faces. I have mid disc faces over there on the shelf. We're gonna put mid disc faces on the front wheels to gain more offset. I'm gonna add camber from a top hat, take out camber from the lower control arm. Therefore, I still stay fender to lip, but the front gets moved in a little bit, but still has the same amount of camber. If that doesn't make sense to you, don't worry, we're gonna make a whole video on that and I'll explain it better. But yeah, that's basically where I'm at with the car. Long explanation, tried to do it as quick as possible. Alrighty guys, so with all that being said, we're effectively going to wrap up today's video. Hopefully didn't make this thing too long and drawn out. I know it was just another video of me talking, but hopefully next couple of videos will all get me diving into fixing this thing and starting to work on it finally, like I've been talking to forever. Hopefully just need to get my motivation levels up like I've been struggling with for quite a while. But on that note, peace out and I'll catch you on the next one.